Hey, so I wanted to share some of the video that we captured from the first Herpes Opportunity weekend seminar. And just so you know, the video is not actually representative of the seminar itself, since obviously a lot of the seminar is going to be interactive. It's going to be participants talking about their story, interacting with one another, group interactions, one-on-one. So this isn't entirely representative of the seminar, but it'll give you an idea of the setup to the seminar. So obviously, since I didn't want to be showing videos of the participants for privacy purposes and confidentiality purposes, what I can show you is the parts where I'm talking. So to set up the whole weekend and give you some ideas of some of the stuff that we were talking about and what I was presenting. So wanted to share it with you. I hope you enjoy it.
It's going to be all about creating the container that we're going to play in, right? Like we're building the playground and building trust, right? I mean, I haven't even met a few of you in person yet, you know, so there's something to be said about actually spending some time like, hey, so great that we're building a weekend together, but who the heck are you, right? I'm going to do my awesome drawings. Here's a person. Here's another person.
Aren't you an artist?
I'm a graphic designer. I'm a graphic artist. So Friday, this is what we're working on. Just the container, right? The container for us to be able to relate with one another. Round of applause for my work. Okay. I'll try better next time.
Do better, there is no try.
Is that Yoda?
Yeah.
No, or do not.
Saturday is going to be all about like noticing our, what I'm going to call a shame shield. For some of us, maybe the shield is thicker than others. It's like, you know, it's a protective barrier. Like when something new happens, when something changes, there's a natural instinct for us to protect, right? Again, we're not shaming the shame shield. There's nothing wrong with this. Again, it's building the awareness that there is even such a thing. When you are in shame, it naturally disconnects. It has you believe that you're not enough. It has you believe that if someone knew this thing about me, this goes, you know, across all shame, not just herpes shame. If someone knew this thing about me, then no one's gonna love me. But the sneaky thing about this shame shield, and this is Saturday, is that it makes this a little bit more difficult. It might be happening, but it might be happening just ever so slightly. Another thing about this is that, of course, it protects us maybe from all of the stuff that might be coming into like you know, maybe the stigma or, you know, the possibility that no one's going to really love me. Like, what if that is actually true? Like, what if I'm never going to find someone to love me? Well, I got to protect myself from that information that might be coming in, right? But also, what gets blocked can be other people's love. It can be maybe the truth that you are lovable. That wow, there's hope, right? There's not just hope, there's opportunity. Thank you. So that's what Saturday is going to be about. It's going to be about looking at that more closely, looking at whatever our shame shield looks like, and getting curious about it. And then you can probably imagine what Sunday is going to be. So maybe just by looking at the shame and getting curious about it, maybe it's there, but maybe it's just a little more faint. Or maybe it's still there just as powerfully, but you have more awareness about it. And what is awareness? Like, awareness actually gives you options. So if you're aware that it even exists, then you can make the decision to change it or look at it in a different way. If we take that off in any degree, then what happens is, yes, all this stuff can come in. We can be semi-permeable to life, right? We can be impacted by life. And also what happens is we get to do this. Like, we actually get to shine. Like, there's something really sneaky about shame in that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I believe that I'm not lovable, then the world somehow, like, magically becomes this I'm not lovable place. And then what happens is we just close ourselves off to the possibility of being lovable. So what happens here is we get to actually be in the world. We don't hold ourselves back anymore if we don't have to. So that's Sunday. Intentions. This next exercise is going to be around setting intentions for yourself. Like, by the end of this weekend, I will have done this, or I will feel like this, or whatever by the end of this weekend. And then other intentions will be, in 5 years, I intend to. Right? It's really interesting reframe on what that fear is, or like what that anxiety might be. Like, anytime we're doing something new, even like you might have experienced that walking in these doors, you know, like, right, something new is coming up, like, there's this reptilian part of our brain that is like, you're gonna die, like, get out of here, what are you doing, are you insane? So, the reframe for, let me just go ahead and draw, this is you, and let's say that this, right here is your comfort zone. The second that something goes outside of here, something that is new to us. It could show up as anxiety, it could show up as fear. But did you know that in brain scan, they induced fear in them, and they induced excitement in them. And the same exact part of their brain lit up. Fear and excitement being exactly the same thing is like, it's just proof to me that we can create a whole lot more meaning out of what fear is. It's like, when we look at it in a certain way, when we look at it with the perspective of, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die, it's a very different feeling. It seems like it's a very different feeling than excitement. It's like, how can those two things be the same thing in our brain? Well, they are, so what does that show us? It shows us that if the brain is seeing it the same way, then it must be our perspective on these things that is showing up differently in our experience. All of these things, maybe that we're comfortable with, are showing up as excitement because they're in our comfort zone, but this is showing up as fear. But what happens when we actually go through that, that reptilian brain of ours and is like, yeah, I get that you're telling me that I'm gonna die, but I'm gonna do this anyway. Like, I'm gonna be courageous and just do it, knowing that I'm not gonna die. The second, like, every time that we kind of go for that, feel the fear and do it anyway, then in my experience, it seemed like this, whenever we do that thing, then that becomes our new comfort zone. So say that thing is, like, okay, vulnerability time. My thing was always like, it was really scary for me to approach a woman that I was attracted to. Like, oh my gosh, like, it's totally outside of my comfort zone, like, I'm just not gonna do that. There's no way in how I'm gonna die, right? If I walk up there and she rejects me, or like if someone else sees me doing that and I get rejected, oh my God, my world's gonna end. And then the first time that I did it and was like, oh my God, hello, it was awkward, it was whatever. But then the more times that happened, and my brain's like, oh, okay, cool, you're not gonna die. I'm still not perfectly comfortable with this. But I'm more comfortable than I once was. So it's like that becomes available to me that much more, the more that I do it and the more that I prove to my subconscious mind that I'm not gonna die. And that just keeps going and going. And the more that we keep building our comfort zone, and since we're here, maybe we'll try something out here, and it keeps getting bigger. Like all of this room in here, that's us. Like, that's how we live. Right? If we're living in this contained space, then only a certain amount of life is available to us, really. But if we're like pushing our edges, this is what the whole phrase of pushing our edges is. It's like, this used to be our edge. Oh, push it, oh, this is our edge now. The more we can push our edge to a safe and healthy degree, the more we can live. So